So I'm sure many of you heard of Nicholas Sparks' The Notebook. But did you really pay attention to what the couple was struggling with in the beginning and in the end? They struggled with a form of dementia, which he was often reading to her and things like that to get her to remember. I'm gonna speak on a form of dementia known as Alzheimer's. It affects 60 to 70% of the population with dementia. This is the brain of an Alzheimer's patient. I'll get back to this in a little bit. But the Alzheimer's Association of America defines the Alzheimer's as a form of dementia that takes place once the brain is overtaken with plaque and tangles in the brain. It's a progressive disease, and it eventually results in death. Alzheimer's often affects the elderly, usually in their mid-60s to older. As an LPN, I've personally had experience with this working in long-term care, and there are three main levels of Alzheimer's. It is a mild level, a moderate level, and a severe level. In the moderate stage of Alzheimer's, the victim often struggles with their memory as far as remembering where they parked, remembering where they're going, what they're going into a room for. They often get lost easily, require frequent reminding. In the moderate stages of Alzheimer's, they often struggle with remembering who their friends and family are, recognizing them when they speak to them, remembering what they were going to say. In the severe stages of Alzheimer's, they often struggle with incontinence, which is controlling their bowels and bladder. They struggle with communication, and they often require a good bit of assistance to do anything. Like I said, in the healthy brain, as you can see, the healthy brain is fat and full of all the good stuff. But in severe Alzheimer's, this is an actual severe Alzheimer's brain. The plaque builds up and the tangles build up, and these things kill the neurons in your brain, which is the neurotransmitters part that gives your brain the signal to move, to speak, to remember, things like that. And as it kills the neurons, of course, the brain shrinks. And as you can see, in severe Alzheimer's, a great deal of the brain is affected. So once it's affected, your body naturally starts to shut down because it doesn't have the ability to remember how to function. The neurotransmitters are dead, so there's no way of your brain to communicate to your body. This is often diagnosed in the group, the elder, mid-60s to 70s group. It's often diagnosed with memory studies and multiple brain images, things like that, where they can see the plaque building up, the tangles building up. There is some treatments. There's no cure for Alzheimer's, but there are treatments, and there's medicines like Namenda, Exelon, Aricept, things like that. They use that to slow the progression of the disease. It helps the neurotransmitters to keep function between them. As they function, it helps to keep the tangles from building, the plaque from building up on there, so it's easier for them to transmit your orders to your body. Like I said, there's ongoing research. There's actually foundations set up for this. Many of the hospitals support it. But Alzheimer's, there is no cure. Eventually, they will pass. They will die. So, in conclusion, like I said, it affects 60 to 70% of the population, usually being diagnosed in the mid-60s to 70s. It is a progressive disease with three main categories: the mild, moderate, and severe Alzheimer's, and it will result in death. Any questions?
Do kids have it?
No, not usually. It's diagnosed. Alrighty, well, thank you for listening.